Yo, how y'all doing today? And I know everybody saw like the recent developments with Sparking Zero and the new like world premiere for the Bleach game. And it actually got me like really thinking about like anime games like throughout the years and what type of games they were and how like we eventually transitioned into a state where for a period of time there were a lot of arena fighters and how now it's kind of like coming full circle and giving us like a lot of different things. And going forward, of course, this can mean a lot for anime games, obviously, and this can mean a lot for just action RPG games in general, because there is a heavy demand for them, but I don't know why. For some reason, it seems like every time we get a new one, in one way or another, it's either a blessing that we get it in the first place, Nier Automata, or the studio just immediately gets hold afterwards, like Hi-Fi Rush. That was very sad, by the way. And from what I've seen, the demand for like action RPG games that don't play like a Souls game or a FromSoft game is at an all-time high. Like, even from my like Souls-likes video, right? I remember seeing some comments and then some people on Twitter also, they would just at me or DM me about it and we'd have conversations. People just didn't like how like there is like a heavy influx of action RPG games influenced by like the FromSoft games, because either they felt like they don't capture what FromSoft did with that specific genre and birth with that specific genre, or they're just tired of that formula in general, or they just never liked it, right? And I can honestly see where they're coming from a specific like point, right? My favorite games of all time, right, are Hollow Knight and Nier Automata. They are in a two-way tie for my favorite games of all time, meaning that my favorite game of all time is pretty much an action RPG that like at its basic core, right, it's not as simple to like get a crazy combo going as like Devil May Cry. And Nier, you have to work for it a little bit more, but you don't have to do all of that. The combat can be basic, but if you want to get some really flashy stuff, you can get some like technical stuff, like when you use the pod to like, you know, homing in on an enemy and keep the air juggle going. I'm not gonna get into it or whatever. I'm not gonna nerd out about it. But like, I can understand why people want these action RPGs. I want them too. And to be honest with how these like directors and development studios of action RPGs have been treated over the years, I cannot blame fans for just reaching a boiling point where they're just fed up with it in general. I mean, like as a recent example, the development studio for Hi-Fi Rush. We seen how that went. That was very sad and very tragic. And then like an overarching thing that's just been going on forever, we've seen how Platinum Games has been treated. Now with all of that in mind, you can probably assume with just like how the Bleach game being a decently made and well polished action RPG can mend that wound a little bit, right? It's already got a lot going for it by like it not being a Souls-like and people not using it as another point to like get their argument across. Now real quick, let me cook for a minute, bro. Just real quick. I promise, I'll be fast. You know how I just wrote the Bleach game off as just being like, if it was an ARPG, it'd be the savior of this little subgenre drought that we're in, right? What if I told you that this drought isn't even a drought for real, right? Now, if you've watched me for like a little bit by now, you know I don't just do like think pieces on little bits and pieces of news we get. I like to put people on some really cool stuff. So to ease the like action RPG tension, that's exactly what I'm gonna do for you. And if you're interested in any of the games that I'm about to mention, I'll leave a link to like the developer's socials or whatever, so you can like show support, and don't forget to tell them that Canon sent you, of course. And I'm gonna start it off with one that like if you've been a little bit tapped in, or if you just scrolled your feed for long enough, or like scrolled TikTok for long enough, you probably already seen this one. It's called Aninra. I first saw this game when I was just scrolling down my Twitter feed one day like many months ago, so the game looked drastically different than what it does now. It's definitely much better now, right? And I was pretty impressed with the combat. I kind of just wrote it off as one of those things that just comes and goes, right? And then fast forward to now, and I'm not gonna lie, this game looks amazing. Like I really hope the development keeps going at this pace that it's going right now. Because before, of course, you'd have like your obligatory action RPG air launcher and your, you know, few flashy animations, you know, and a demo reel of the combat of the game. But now, it's so much more fluid. Like, the parrying to switching between enemies to comboing. I'm not gonna lie, he's showing a masterclass with how he's developing this game. And I can only hope that the development goes further and they get the support they need, and we get to see this game at its full potential. Next up, we have a game that I've been keeping up with the development of a lot, right? So we know how Hi-Fi Rush is an action RPG game, but it also has rhythmic elements incorporated into it. Well, there's another game that's in the same exact vein as that, and it's also very, very cool. The name of the game is Jamfibian. It's a play on words, you know, like jam and amphibian. I don't know why I'm explaining it, you knew that. Now, while the combat is really good, one thing that specifically stood out to me was just how great this movement was. Now, while of course it's in its early stages of development, it actually looks really, really refined. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you can of course like do your wall jumps and stuff. You can do your mantles and your like slides and whatever, and do your bunny hops. But you can also like grind rails, and since it's like a frog or whatever, there's this really, really cool like movement option where you like stick out your tongue and kind of like a web zip from like Spider-Man or something. You could just like fling yourself to wherever your tongue sticks to. And then where like the rhythmic elements are like incorporated, when you do combos or whatever, you can of course do them on beat, right? You can do it on to the beat of the drum pattern. I'm not sure if it's just like automatically doing that or if you're manually doing that though, so I'm not gonna make that assumption. But what I do know is one thing that's pretty cool with this game, and was kind of cool with Hi-Fi Rush, is that enemies, like when there's a group of enemies, right, they purposefully like alternate between each other to keep the beat of their own attacks going. It's really, really cool. I'll put a clip of it on screen right now. And then you have other stuff, of course, like you can time your block to the beat. You can like air juggle and stuff like that. You can bounce them off the ground and pop them back up into the air and continue your link. You have jump canceling. Like it's all around there. We just have to, you know, support the development of the game and see where it goes. And then the next action RPG we have is Bomb Rush Cyber. I'm just kidding, bro. I just wanted to mention Bomb Rush. All right. For real though. For this last one that I'm gonna recommend, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take a break from like the DMC style games and like the unfinished games and give you one that I think that when I finish this game, I think that it'll genuinely be in my top 5 games of all time. I think it's a genuine masterpiece, right? The name of the game is Crosscode. This is one of the most expansive games I have ever seen in my entire life. With a world so massive, and I mean no exaggeration when I say this game is huge, it effortlessly world builds and doesn't get lost in the verse that it is trying to create, right? It has just about every element you'd ever want in a top-down ARPG. I haven't dived into like the entirety of the system, but I can tell you right now that the combat in this game is amazing. As a person that really likes Sekiro and really likes the like parts of Devil May Cry's combat where you get rewarded for like parrying perfectly, like with Royal Guard and stuff like that, I'm telling you, it is so satisfying to pull off certain actions perfectly in this game. It's uniquely flashy within its gameplay, and you know, the pixel art is of course beautiful. But another beautiful part of this game that you will really come to appreciate alongside the actual gameplay itself is the story that it unfolds. Like seriously, bro, watching the story happen right in front of you is like just watching a really, really good anime like all the way through. And the OST complements it so well. Bro, big shout out to my friend Spades for putting me onto this game. Like, I'm dead serious, bro. Stop whatever you're doing right now, go to Steam, PlayStation Store, whatever you're playing on, bro, because I think it's like on every single console, right? And download the game and go play it right now. It's one of the best indie games ever made. Now hear me out. What if I doubled it up and put y'all onto some really good music just to help you switch it up, you know, check out some new artists if you want. To start it off, we got an album that one of my subs actually put me onto, so big shout out to them. Their Twitter @ is this on the screen right now. They have really good music recommendations. The name of the album is Weather Glow by Asian Glow and Weather Day, and I'm not even finna cap, bro, there are no skips in my opinion. Like, it's good straight from the first track. Matter of fact, let me glaze the first track a little bit, because low-key is my favorite track, and I love the name of the song. It's called Melt a Bed, and it's like it has hard rock guitars on top of these celestial vocals, and it makes for like a really bright song, but it's also melancholy as well. Not only does it like merge different like elements from multiple different subgenres of rock, but it's also like experimental but with intent. Like, the progressions that they do in the middle of the song, they come out of nowhere, but they fit right where they are. And in a strange type of way, I guess that perfectly describes this band, because that is exactly what happened. Now, next up, we have a band that I don't think is like super underrated personally, but I believe they should have more motion considering how good I feel like their sound is. Like, their production quality is insane. The name of the band is Ocean Grove. And one thing that I really appreciate appreciate about this band specifically, and like a lot of artists that I listen to predominantly, is the fact that you can go through their whole discography and you cannot pinpoint a specific sound that they do over and over again. And that's really apparent with their one album, Flip Phone Fantasy. Now this album, dog, this album is one of the most beautiful rock albums I have ever heard. The guitar is amazing on every single song, and the production quality is a masterclass. But the two songs that stood out to me specifically on this album are Sunny and Superstar. And Sunny is the perfect name for that song because that is exactly what it is. It gives you the feeling of like hanging out with your friends, or like just skating for like hours on end, or going to the beach and then summoning Cthulhu to fight him. The vocals on the verses and bridges are very warm. They give you like this euphoric type of feeling, like you're in the afterglow or something. And then when the hook comes in, it just hits you all at once. Like I remember listening to this for the first time with my friend Renzo, right? And we were just like, okay, this is a pretty good song. It was good coming off the previous songs in the album. And then when the hook came, it was like somebody punched us in the face, like in a good way, like you're in a mosh pit type of punch. And then the other song, Superstar, it's the first song on the album, but it low-key just might be the best song on the album. Like it makes you feel like you're Guts from Berserk, but you're in the year 2099 and you're with Miguel O'Hara trying to take down Alchemax or something. It makes you feel like that type of main character. Bro, I had to make up a scenario because I ran out of adjectives to like describe this song. Like I'm not gonna lie, the hook is low-key one of the best hooks I ever heard in my entire life. You just have to listen to it. I can't really explain it. It's such a blend of different styles just on top of each other, just crashing and crashing and crashing. It's amazing. It's really amazing. It's like being in a perfect tsunami. And lastly, we have an artist that my friend Kino put me onto recently. I know I mentioned bro like in every single video, but I've actually really come to like this artist, and his name is Ronan. So you know how there's like been like a very big hole within the realm of emo rap with Peeps passing, Juice's passing, X's passing, and Trippie Redd's sad fall off. I don't know what has been going on, bro. Music has not been hitting. Well, Ronan sorta mends that. And I say sorta because Ronan doesn't really make emo rap necessarily, but his take on bending that genre and sort of innovating it does kind of give you those vibes. Like his melodic highs are amazing. And a song that I really think like drives home that point is a song by him called Void. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, that hook is made of gold. A lot of his hooks are like really good, but that one specifically I really like. And then one of his like more popular songs called Lost is really good as well. I feel like that's where like that Peep influence or that sound per se, you can like hear a lot in that song. And I'm actually really excited to see where he like takes his sound, because every time he drops something new, it seems to like steadily develop, and it's really cool to see. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, because it was like a lot of fun making this one specifically. All like the links to everything in the vid will be in the description. My socials will be in the description. So yeah, I still don't know how to end
Up in here with my tool, they can find you in the ditch, yeah. Straight for high rule, you not from me, you a glitch, yeah. Man of my rules, running with the misfits, yeah. Do not misclick, that's gonna get you hit quick, yeah. Death on death, it's God, ain't no variation, it's Lord, X Lord. I keep prepared, I saw an X out of Claude.